On December 25, 1929, in the small community of Germanton, North Carolina, one of the most brutal and mysterious crimes in American history took place. Charlie Lawson, a man of 43 years, murdered his wife, Fanny Mannering, and 6 of their 7 children before taking his own life. The case remains an enigma due to the lack of clear motive and inadequate investigation at the time.
Crimes and mysteries.
The Lawson family murder. An unresolved mystery. Although nearly a century has passed since this heinous crime occurred, it remains noteworthy that its resolution was never properly established. Before delving into the narrative, let's examine the composition of the Lawson family. The Lawson family consisted of Charlie Lawson, born May 10, 1886 in North Carolina, his wife Fanny Mannering, whom he married in 1911, and their 8 children. Mary, of 17 years. Arthur, of 16. William, born in 1914 and died of an illness in 1920. Carrie, of 12. Maybelle, of 7. James, of 4. Little Raymond, of 2 years. And Mary Lou, of 4 months. In 1918, Charlie Lawson and his family followed the lead of his 2 younger brothers, Marion and Elijah, who had moved to Germanton. They worked as sharecroppers until finally in 1927, they saved enough money to buy their own farm on Brook Cove Road. The days leading up to the crime. In the days preceding to December 25th, of 1929, Charlie Lawson treated his family to a trip to town, where they purchased new clothing and sat for a family portrait. While this might seem unusual for a family rural of working class, suggesting premeditation, it's worth noting that Lawson had become a successful farmer, having bought his farm 2 years earlier. The Associated Press even described him as a prosperous farmer, making these holiday expenses plausible. The day of the crime. On the afternoon of December 25th, Charlie Lawson sent his eldest son, Arthur, to the local store to buy some provisions. While Arthur was away, Charlie began the bloody massacre with 2 of his daughters, Carrie and Maybelle, who were heading to their aunt's house. Charlie waited for them by the tobacco warehouse, which was next to the barn, shooting them with his shotgun when they came within range. To ensure they were dead, he repeatedly struck their heads with the butt of the shotgun, then dragged their bodies to the tobacco warehouse. Next, Charlie headed to the house, where his wife, Fanny, met him on the porch, asking what had happened. Without a word, Charlie pointed his shotgun and shot her in the heart. As soon as the shot was heard, Mary, the eldest sibling, who was inside the house with her 2 younger brothers, James and Raymond, screamed in horror at what her father had done. It wasn't long before Charlie reloaded the shotgun, to subsequently enter the house and ended Mary's life with a shot in the back. James and Raymond, his 2 youngest sons, tried to hide. But unfortunately, Charlie found them, and they met the same fate as their mother and 3 sisters. Finally, Charlie Lawson went to the bedroom where Mary Lou was the baby of the family, and with the butt of the shotgun, repeatedly struck the baby's face, until it was disfigured, thus accomplishing the murder of his entire family. At 4 p.m., neighbors heard gunshots coming from the Lawson home. But since hunting animals in the woods was common in the area, the neighbors played it down. When Arthur, the oldest of the male siblings, who had gone out to a local store on an errand for his father, returned, he found the front door open and his family lying on the ground, covered in blood. Arthur immediately ran to his grandfather's house to call for help. The crime scene. Authorities discovered a gruesome and surreal scene. Charlie's wife, Fanny Mannering, lay lifeless in the kitchen, shot through the heart. Carrie and Maybelle were found in the living room, victims of fatal headshots. James and Raymond lay nearby, bearing similar wounds to the head and chest. On the other hand, Mary suffered a devastating gunshot wound to her back, which pierced her left lung and lodged in her thoracic cavity. It is suspected that for a few minutes after he was shot, he was still alive. The infant, Mary Lou lay in her bedroom, her face brutally disfigured. A haunting detail that caught police attention is that each victim's arms were crossed, and with rocks carefully placed beneath their heads. Charlie Lawson's suicide. The shot that signaled Charlie Lawson's own demise was heard by the many people who had gathered at the property after learning of the horrific event. Some rushed toward the sound, and found Charlie Lawson dead, with his two dogs, Sam and Queen, by his side. Bloodstains indicated he had been walking in a small circle for hours. The police discovered a suicide note among his belongings, but it offered no explanation for the crime. Investigation and theories. The investigation was limited, and no clear motives for the crime were found. Some theories suggest financial problems. The family faced economic difficulties, but there was no indication they were in a desperate situation. Given that the new clothes, shoes, and family portrait taken before Christmas were paid for in cash. Marital problems. Some rumors suggest that Charlie and Fanny Manring had issues in their relationship, but no concrete evidence was found. However, subsequent investigations hint that Charlie Lawson likely engaged in an incestuous relationship with his eldest daughter, who allegedly became pregnant, and to keep this secret, Charlie Lawson may have decided to eliminate his entire family. Another theory suggests mental illness. Some believe Charlie may have suffered from a mental health condition, as he made frequent visits to the doctor weeks before the murders, complaining of headaches and migraines. However, there is no record of medical treatment. A brain tumor was also speculated, but the subsequent autopsy ruled it out. Interesting fact. Shortly after the murders, Charlie's brother, Marion Lawson, opened the Brook Cove Roadhouse as a tourist attraction. The tour featured a Christmas cake, baked by Marie Lawson on the day of the murders. As visitors began taking pieces of the cake as souvenirs, the cake was placed on a glass plate, covered with a crystal dome, preserving it for many years. Arthur Lawson, the only survivor of the family, unfortunately did not have better luck than his family. Since after having suffered the death of his parents and all his siblings, his life was unfortunately cut short of manner tragic. Despite the terror tours that his uncle organized in the murder house, the money was not enough to continue maintaining the family farm. He began to drink too much, and one day in 1945 he crashed his car, thus taking his own life. He was 32 years old, married and had left 4 orphan children. In conclusion, the Lawson family murder remains an unsolved mystery. The case has been the subject of books, documentaries, and films. The house where the crime occurred was demolished in 1960, but the site remains a pilgrimage destination for those fascinated by the case. The tragedy also led to changes in how crimes are investigated and evidence processed in North Carolina, with significant improvements in the following decades. Thank you all for making it to the end of the video. If you want, you can leave a comment and a like, so that the video reaches many more people. I send you all a big hug, and I hope you have a great day.